Welcome to our new show, Heath Schroyer Dance Party. What was that?
You just get caught up in the moment, and Dr. Roos and I were standing outside the locker room, and Coach Wade said, "Come on in," and you just got caught up in the moment. It was a great win, a great moment. Was not expecting, my jumping up and down being filmed all over, being social media, but so be it.
Oh, it hit social media. I don't know if it's gone viral yet, but we'll try to get it there.
It's not that important.
Oh, I think it was.
Well, of course, for sure.
I think it was funny.
It was a great win, though. It was
a huge win.
It was a huge win.
The exact opposite of last year. You had to miss a shot to make a basket. They had to miss a shot to make, and they missed.
And just a huge win. And they played extremely well. We didn't play great, but we just found a way to win. And I said this to Coach after the game. Coach Wade is elite. The buttons he pushes, the substitutions, coming out of timeouts, and a couple different times, and going to a 1-3-1, and then into man.
The big thing was the zone that kind of confused him for a while.
Yeah, he's really, really good. We have a really good team. When you bring a guy off the bench like Sincere Parker, who can go get 7 points in a row and go on a 7-0 run. We're going to be a really tough out. It's fun to see, and I will tell you, we're watching history right now, and I hope that every single game in the Legacy Center from here on out is sold out. The last couple have been, and it's a special time. It's
an interesting time at that, but not only that, but it came off with the women winning a close game, rallying.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're in the 8th spot. They could move up even. They've beaten everybody behind them already. So they're in actually a fairly decent spot to make the tournament. But getting back to the dance.
Oh, my gosh, you're just not going to let this go.
I'm going to let it go. I just let it.
Okay, go ahead. All right, let's do it.
The president has seemed to at least understand where the camera was. So kind of
I had no
back
idea.
a little bit.
Got it. Okay, for sure.
You love the camera.
No, I just was in, like I said, Coach waved us in. We, Coach and I, or Dr. Roos and I were celebrating with the team for about 2 or 3, 30 seconds maybe, and then
So you were in D.C. last week. Most of us are fighting the snow. You get out of town right away.
Hold on a second.
And jump to D.C. to go play with the politicians.
First of all, I was stuck as well.
Yeah.
With the snow like everyone else. Wednesday night, I was able to fly out. And I came back late Sunday night and was here, worked all day until 4 o'clock, and then hopped on a plane and with Dr. Roos and one of our donors, and was able to go to the game. It was great.
You've become a man all over the place. A man about country.
Are we going to talk about anything with
sure.
Coke Nation except for my dancing?
Like? All right. So last night's game, essentially, although not officially, essentially locks up the conference #1 seed.
There's a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah, it's a coach's thing.
A lot of basketball to be played.
Well, if you read the column, it won't be.
Okay.
But you have you have the biggest lead in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You have the longest in-conference winning streak in the country, 21. There's still 32 out there, which ironically would be broken on the championship game if you could get there. So there's that carrot out there for people to go for. There are some tough games. At Nichols Saturday.
Big game.
I would imagine Corpus here, Lamar are some of the games that are going to be interesting. But really, this whole season has always been about the 2 games in March. And winning those 2 games
100%.
and then getting into the tournament and winning a tournament
100%.
game.
And, from the time that we lost to Gonzaga, everything that, Coach and I talked about was, trying to put a team together and a schedule together to give us the best chance to win. Obviously put ourselves in a position to compete for a conference championship, and then if we're lucky enough to win that, get to the NCAA tournament and make a run. After last year, I think Coach, has done a great job of developing the roster. I think our roster has continued to develop. I think you look at guys like Brandon Murray and guys like that; they're getting better.
Murray, yeah, especially.
They're really getting more comfortable in their role. T-John Brown, what a huge asset he has been for this team. So, when you sit behind the bench like I was able to last night, and you can just see the chemistry, but more importantly, as an old coach, that the way Coach Wade coaches the guys, the buttons he pushes, how the staff interacts, the responsibilities that the assistants have. It's Coach will tell you it's a team effort, but I will tell you that we're in the middle of something that it really is historic, and hopefully we can continue on this ride because it's a lot of fun.
8 games shy of the record for 2 years in the history of the program, wins in over a 2-year period. That goes back to the NAIA days, by the way, all the way back to the national championship in the NAIA. So we're talking 70, 80 years now of basketball, and this might be the best 2-year run ever.
For sure.
So I guess it's everything you imagine when you got him.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I mean, people, it's easy now, right? I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I remember when, I made a decision to, Dr. Roos and I made the decision to take a chance and bring Coach Wade here. Remember that we didn't know for 3 months if he was even going to be able to coach. We really, took a chance, and but it sure has planned out. And I will say this, not only has Coach done a great job on the basketball floor and building a program, but what he has done for this community has been even bigger than that. How his staff, his players interact in the community. I've said it before. Look, I believe at some point in time in Coach's career, he's going to win a national championship. I really do believe that. But he'll never have a bigger impact on a community that he has had here. Louisiana and Lake Charles loves him. And he loves Louisiana and loves Lake Charles.
So then you're going to keep him for 10 years. When we come back, Bridget Martin will be our guest. We'll talk to her about women's athletics at McNeese over her time and the changes that's taking place after this on Poke Nation.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us. At Veron Bice, we don't enter popularity contests. The only ratings we care about are the verdicts we've obtained for our clients. Ask anyone who knows us.
Ever since I was young, I've known what I wanted to do. Sure, I had some guidance along the way. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But eventually, I had all I wanted. Family, career. It went by fast. Now I'm here. Retirement. And thanks to sound financial planning, it will be all I hoped for. And our children will have a secure legacy. For me, retirement is the next great chapter in my life.
Ferdinandson Financial Group. Let us help you make a plan.
Welcome to Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where every dish is crafted with fresh ingredients bursting with flavor. Make your date night unforgettable with our authentic Mexican dishes in a cozy and unique setting. Experience our warm and welcoming staff dedicated to ensuring your dining experience is nothing short of exceptional. Unwind at our bar with weekly drink specials perfect for any occasion. Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where great food, people, and drinks come together.
The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
New to Lake Charles, but not Louisiana, Mockler Beverage has been a leading Anheuser-Busch distributor for over 35 years. Known for an unwavering commitment to quality and service, we're excited to bring our excellence to Southwest Louisiana. Our exceptional portfolio of brands ensures we have the perfect beverage for every taste and occasion. Experience the Mockler difference, where every sip tells a story of excellence and satisfaction. Mockler Beverage, we serve Southwest Louisiana. For more information or to join the team, go to mocklerbeverage.com.
Welcome back to Poke Nation. It is my pleasure and honor to have Deputy Athletic Director, Miss Bridget Martin. Welcome back to Poke Nation.
Well, thank you, Heath. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Well,
wait a minute. Before we get into it, she's deputy. You got 100 assistant athletic directors. What do you do besides host the dance party in the locker room?
Miss Bridget, it took, let's see the clock there. It took less than 25 seconds for him to throw his first jab. Welcome to Poke Nation. And this is what we do. But no, let's get into it. So obviously, athletics has changed so much, obviously, in the last 3 to 5 years. But talk about your path here. You know, when you started here, and your path to deputy AD and your responsibilities and all that.
Well, arrived here a long time ago, 1990, as a women's basketball coach. Did about 11 years. Very, very fulfilling. People ask me all the time, do I miss it? Some parts I do. If I could have won more, I think I'd have stayed longer as a coach. But given the opportunity to transition to the administrative side and function as senior woman administrator was an honor, and I thought an opportunity that's been really interesting. The pathway forward, I now have sport oversight, have worked continuously in compliance, which has been quite a journey. There's no roadmap through that NCAA legislation, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed the people I've been able to work with, and for this community, it's been great.
Well, I don't think a lot of people know this, but you know, you talked about sports oversight, and obviously you oversee softball, volleyball, women's basketball, but you also are the point of contact for men's basketball.
That's correct.
And you oversee the day-to-day of men's basketball. Tell Polk Nation, what's it been like administering Will Wade, if you will?
It's been interesting, very interesting. He's very thorough. He understands the rules. He asks questions. He and his staff, they want to do the right thing. He recognizes the changes with NCAA legislation, and he's constantly confirming that this is a approved NCAA activity. But I think nothing is left to chance. There's no coincidence with him. He's very calculated, understands where he wants to go, and chooses a path that's appropriate.
And his work, I mean, I'd say it all the time to people, his work ethic and attention to detail is really unlike anything I've seen.
Agreed. I don't think success finds him because he's lucky. I think he finds success because he leaves no detail untended to. And that means if it's going to be the guys wiping the floor, they're the fastest speed wipers you find.
That's right.
I want to ask you about the compliance portion of your job, because that's completely changed. You're getting rules almost daily that are different. How hard has that been to kind of stay ahead of, but also kind of predict what the future is going to be?
It's nerve-wracking. For the longest time, you just say no, or let me check maybe. Now it's, I don't know. Let me go back to what the recent educational column says and guidance says. They're using those terms rather than hard, fast rules, leaving a lot to be determined. This latest Pavia case with the 2-year colleges, every kid that's been to community college and every coach that has a player on their roster wants to know, do they get another year? And we're still waiting on that final. It appears as though certain components of the Pavia case are easy to apply, but they don't want to hear the nuances for other student athletes. So it's been very difficult getting response from the NCAA. Understandable, but when you ask the people that are enforcing the rules and they don't know yet, then you have to tell coaches and student athletes, we don't know, which is usually not a good thing.
Well, yeah, we have a case here where Javon Garcia, will he get a 5th year?
Correct.
He's one of the guys that possibly could, and that affects not only recruiting, but his future, your NIL deals. It ties up a lot of things without the knowing, so you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants.
Very much so.
It's true. I mean, Sincere Parker, there's a couple guys on our roster that have spent a year or so in junior college, so it's very interesting. And you know, Miss Bridget and I talk about it all the time. It's continuing to evolve, and it's so liquid. But let me ask you this, Miss Bridget, from a day-to-day, and then the other thing that you oversee in the department is all the academics. And we have done such a much better job, you know, it wasn't that long ago when football was on APR probation, right? So, and talk a little bit about the oversight and the people that are under you within the academic realm as well.
Well, I would attribute a lot of that, the entirety of that, to Megan Swallow, who's our director over academics. She's jumped in and managed that in a an awesome way. I think John Lemke has assisted and been able to, you know, again, advise coaches, get kids on the right path with hours toward degree, and that has been a very big part of our success academically. Unfortunately, the transfer portal and retention points moving out have been a little difficult to navigate. But yes, I think that we have one of the finest academic advising units in the league. So I think that I feel very confident in what we do for our student athletes when we bring them in.
How hard is it to keep up academically for students now with this transfer portal? And they're coming not only once, twice, but sometimes 3 times in a transfer.
Those transcripts, I don't look at them, but hearing from Megan and John, they are very, very eclectic. All kinds of classes, and how can we put together a curriculum and put them in one that they can get a degree in a timely fashion.
You call it that. I'd say it's messy. They look messy to me. I've seen some of them. They're kind of interesting to see how you follow that and still keep, you know, you're trying to get everybody to advance towards a degree, but every school is so much different. Every state's different. That's a big challenge. When we come back with Bridget Martin, we're going to talk about the growth of women's sports and the summit that was here 2 weeks ago. Right after this on Polk Nation.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us.
New to Lake Charles, but not Louisiana, Mockler Beverage has been a leading Anheuser-Busch distributor for over 35 years. Known for an unwavering commitment to quality and service, we're excited to bring our excellence to Southwest Louisiana. Our exceptional portfolio of brands ensures we have the perfect beverage for every taste and occasion. Experience the Mockler difference, where every sip tells a story of excellence and satisfaction. Mockler Beverage, we serve Southwest Louisiana. For more information or to join the team, go to mocklerbeverage.com.
Welcome to Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where every dish is crafted with fresh ingredients bursting with flavor. Make your date night unforgettable with our authentic Mexican dishes in a cozy and unique setting. Experience our warm and welcoming staff dedicated to ensuring your dining experience is nothing short of exceptional. Unwind at our bar with weekly drink specials perfect for any occasion. Nogales Mexican Cuisine and Bar, where great food, people, and drinks come together.
The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
We're back with Bridget Martin, and I want to talk about the NIL deal, not so much in the big picture of the big players, but women's sports especially. How important is it for them to get kind of the small deals to kind of circumvent everything else? Because a lot of times we always think about, well, this guy got $8 million to go play at Michigan or something, but it's not like that. What have you seen from the kids after the summit, and how interested is the community with it?
I think we're getting a lot of interest, and I think opportunity is what we're trying to present for our student athletes, male, female, and big deal might not exist at the moment for some of our female student athletes, but there's no reason to believe that someone might see value and the personality, the personal story, the brand, and they might become a big deal. And more importantly is how they can navigate growing into a business future using their skill set, using athletics, and again, building some brand for themselves that goes beyond McNeese.
Okay, so women's basketball had a huge win last night, but I want to talk about the overall picture. They voted so you could have units pay in the NCAA tournament, which is a big deal. How much of that growth have you seen, and what does it kind of mean getting the television exposure they got last year for the smaller schools?
It means a lot. It means a lot for them to be seen across the country. I think that, you know, recruiting base, when you recruit student athletes from across the country, that they want to stay connected with their local fans and their families and friends and high school teammates and AAU teammates. So I think being able to be seen equitably, which I believe the Southland now has as good of exposure through ESPN Plus as any league.
Yeah, the only problem last night was
It was glitchy.
That was very glitchy in
Yeah,
both games.
I've heard that, and I've often wondered if it's, I mean, you know, a lot of people text me last night and this morning, but I just wonder if it's because so many people were trying to watch it.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't know how all that's set up, but I know that a ton of fans here in Lake Charles were, were tuned in for sure.
Yeah, and it cut in and out a lot. That was the only thing, is it was almost like the Tyson fight, that one. It was just cutting in and out.
You know, I'll say this too, Jim, just to kind of echo what Miss Bridget said about the summit. You know, we're the only team in our league that had an NIL summit. We had almost 30 businesses here that were interacting with our student athletes. And obviously talking about NIL deals, but also internships, jobs, et cetera. And we're the second school in the state that had any type of NIL summit. So I think the one thing that I'm really proud of, I mean, I'm proud of a lot, but one thing is that we are truly becoming pioneers in this space and really trying to expose all of our student athletes, like Ms. Bridget said, to those opportunities. Most of our colleagues, none of our colleagues in our league are even thinking about it like that.
Yeah. So when you see that, how far ahead do you think McNeese women's athletics is for the league in some of those instances? Because you put a lot of money into these facilities for women as well, softball especially. The basketball obviously can play in this gym. How far ahead of you are there in this league?
Well, sport by sport, I think some have gained more traction and maybe historically have had a little quicker start. But I think that we are now at a place that we can arguably talk about facilities being as good, if not better, than anybody in our league. I think our fan base is as good, if not better, than anybody in our league. People care about athletics here in Lake Charles. I think that our coaches are in a situation with the NIL opportunities, talking that when we're recruiting. I think that we can attract student athletes that want to come here, and that we can move the needle even further.
What do you guys kind of get out of the fact that in softball, let's say, a lot of big programs come here to play? I mean, that gets you a lot of national exposure. What does that do for your brand?
Yeah, that makes it nationally. I think that we're recognizable on a national stage. I mean, I can't go anywhere where I don't hear from people about our softball team, because it's, again, quality wins in the last couple of years, runs in the postseason that really, I think, separated us. As a Southland member, I think that now Coach can go out, Coach Landon Osbitten does an outstanding job of being able to attract those big names to come. Who would have thought Oklahoma would come play us here in Lake Charles? So I think he does a great job. He doesn't back up from playing anybody and wants the best of the best to come here.
I mean, I just think that, again, it always, starts from the top. And I will tell you that the sports that Miss Bridget oversees, I mean, they're so thorough. I mean, she does an unbelievable job. And I think that the neat thing that what you're able to do, and you can talk about this before we end this segment, is every coach has a different personality. And being able to manage all those personalities, I mean, you have a big job. People don't realize, like, you have a lot on your plate. Talk a little bit about your style of management with all the different personalities and people.
Well, having been a coach, I recognize that sometimes a coach doesn't need anybody telling them what to do, but asking if there's anything that you can do to help, offering feedback if needed, encouragement most often if things aren't going very well. If there's an issue that maybe you can soften the blow, but they don't need someone to manage them. We expect them to manage their program. We need them to again, communicate openly and frequently, and that's what I try to do. Just be a conduit. If there is a problem, they include me to help find the solution. If they need assistance, I'm there for them. But most of the time, I would prefer to remain in the background, only there to support. I understand what a big job they have, and I respect. They wouldn't be here if they're not capable. So,
one last question for you is: you both come from basketball, and a lot of ADs come from football. Does that kind of make it a little different because you're working on a different level as far as football gets all of it anyway. You're used to kind of not being the big dog, so you deal with coaches that way?
I think athletics, I've always been on campuses with football, high school, college. It's another sport, and every coach is competitive, and every student athlete is competitive, and they're all different. They have different personalities, and they're driven differently, but they're all chasing the same thing, winning. Winning is what matters. Everybody wants to win.
That's all he ever talks about.
It's true. It doesn't matter what shape the ball is.
That's right.
It really doesn't.
That's exactly right.
When we come back, we'll Coach's final thoughts after this.
Whether it's an injury case, a property case, or a business dispute, our lawyers are at the top of their game. Ask anyone who knows us. At Veron Bice, we don't enter popularity contests. The only ratings we care about are the verdicts we've obtained for our clients. Ask anyone who knows us.
We're back. Ms. Martin's seen a lot of changes over the time. What's the biggest change for you in women's athletics the last 5-10 years?
I think obviously exposure. And I think obviously women's basketball now, starting next year, getting a unit, is the first female sport to get a unit, meaning for...
You get money.
You get money if you get to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Every other sport, you don't make any money when those sports get to the NCAA tournament. That's the misconception. And really, men's basketball and football are your two revenue, generators. Well, men's basketball at this level has the ability to generate so much more revenue because, you continue to advance in the NCAA tournament, they write you a check, right? So it's really great to see that with women's basketball. But I will tell you a little bit about Bridget. When I put our staff together, she and I became really close. I can't do what I do without her. She is... I bounce everything off of her. She is unbelievable what she does on a daily basis internally to make this thing go. And she's someone I truly trust, I respect, and I hope I can have her here for a long, long time because she is absolutely phenomenal.
So now let's get into the thing at Ohio State where they lost some $37 million. I don't know if that's true or not. They won a national title in football. But if that's true, it's unsustainable for the sport on every level. Mm-hmm. When do you think this bubble bursts and they say we've got to go back to at least everybody besides football playing some regionally for travel costs?
Oh, I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Personally, it's an unsustainable model, and now with the revenue share and NIL, you just can't.
USC and UCLA basketball are flying 3 times to the East Coast.
Look, what I personally think is all the football, the Power Fours in football do what they do. Yeah. Okay. Every other sport go back into, like the UCLA's and USC's should be into Pac-12. Yeah. For every other sport, right? The rivalries. UCLA is not going to sell out Pauley Pavilion with Rutgers coming. No, it just isn't.
It's not going to happen.
Right. So,
and you're not going to get people watching in Rutgers at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
No, and it's not good for the student athlete. I think at some point in time, as you said, the bubble will burst, and we'll get back to some type of regional competition within all the other sports besides football. But it's interesting and fascinating being in those meetings like I was in Nashville, because those are all the conversations that are happening.
You got 10 seconds to sell your show. Your Gatsby.
I'm not selling. It's almost sold out. We have
then never mind.
Out of 100 tables, we have 10 left. So if you haven't got your table, I promise you they'll be sold out soon. So get your table for the biggest and best party of the year. Gatsby,
and
April 12th.
Look what you'll be missing without that dancing now. We'll see you next week.